Hey, speaking of music, we love a bit of a lyric breakdown on this show.
Oh, yeah.
So much so that I've thought, we could actually do a whole separate program where you and I just kind of go through the lyrics of songs and talk about them. I was driving the other day. Lose Yourself came on. Iona was in the back. She was digging it, doing a bit of head bob. I've got very skilled now at singing the lyrics of stuff, but when it gets to the F-bombs and shit, just changing it to hug or, handhold or high five or whatever.
You're like a rapper doing Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I'm Will Smith.
Yeah. No, but that's one of my favorite things about, I was watching actually last night, Kendrick Lamar on Saturday Night Live. And it is one of the things that I love about like the most hardcore of rappers are also aware of what their responsibilities are when it comes to, doing a network television performance of their song. And so if you see Jay-Z or Eminem or Kendrick or whoever on Letterman or Saturday Night Live or any of those sort of things, they all just are able to immediately, or doing the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah.
You just suddenly go, oh, they just censor it. They just come up with another word or they drop it out and they just do it so easily. And there's never been a time when, Eminem's just decided to drop the N-word in the middle of the Super Bowl grand final or whatever, And I find that quite impressive, I've got to say.
Have you got any stand-up bits where the swearing is like part of the punchline or an essential part, which you could swap it out for TV? Like, have you got anything where it's key to you swearing, saying fuck or shit or cunt or something?
I mean,
like, what are the 7 words you can't say? Tits, ass, cunt, shit, fuck.
Most of them you can say. I think mostly. Okay. Look, I mean, you can say cunt after 9:30 or 9 o'clock.
Really?
On television, yeah.
Or any time on a podcast, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
potentially not on the promo video we send out during the week.
I've said it several times on our national broadcaster. I've spent hard-earned taxpayers' dollars to say the C word, but I don't like to swear on TV in a general sense. But yeah, I've never had one of those things where, I've had to turn.
It's not the core to any of your bits. There's not like the swearing. So you could easily Will Smith it if you had to.
How do you feel about this? I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. So it's kind of on this topic, but it's just one slight beat away. So I went to see Kendrick Lamar when he was touring recently, and incredible show. Like, honestly, one of, the best rap gigs I've ever been to in my entire life. But it's just him by himself for the majority of the show in the middle of the stadium. No band, no one else on stage, no dancers. Like, there are some dancers in the show, but for most of it, it is just like him by himself. The rapping is incredible, but occasionally during the chorus, which is not like a unusual thing to do, particularly because he has big, memorable hooks in a lot of his songs, he would get the audience to sing along. And there's 12,000 people in Brisbane. They're having the best time. But there was one where the chorus has the N-word in it. And I was like, is this a trap? That moment where he goes to the audience in that moment. And here's what I will say, that I think in a general sense, no one's saying, I think everyone in the audience knew that the appropriate thing to do was, when they got to that word in the chorus, was just to drop it. Because you could actually hear in the entire room, you're because I was listening out, I was like, is anyone going to go with it? But that's almost, he shouldn't have. I was like, this could have gone really badly wrong.
Yeah. I mean, that's also weird. Because then, all right, so just say there's obviously, I imagine there would be black people in the crowd as well.
It was Brisbane, so there wasn't heaps, but
but they're allowed. But they would be allowed to use it, or does it depend where you're from or what your history is? Could someone who grew up in Australia, maybe I don't know, they're Indian or Pakistani, could they say it? Has anyone ever called them? You have to have been called that to get away with it. And if you do need to prove your credentials, how do you prove it? If a guy next to you had been black, but maybe not African American or even African descent, and he dropped it, would you have given him a side eye, or would you give him a pass?
Pass. 100% pass.
I'm not getting into this shit.
Excuse me, mate. Where are you from? Before a white middle-aged guy at a Kendrick Lamar concert judges whether you're allowed to say the N-word. Where are you from?
Okay, what if Kendrick Lamar
Yeah.
was aware of this kind of conundrum?
Yes.
And before he said, "Look, we're going to do this song, and I want you to all, rap along when I get to the chorus. I know, looking out there, it's Brisbane. I know it's a fairly wide audience. I'm here to say, I didn't write it with that intent. The word doesn't mean it, but I just want to hear you all say it." Like, if Kendrick gave you permission, like he preempted,
100%, I'd be like, you trapper. This is a trap. This is a giant fucking sting.
They've got cameras everywhere.
Everywhere. Everywhere. Yeah. I would have been fine. I was wearing a mask. No one would have seen anything.
I mean, it does sound like entrapment. All right. So, Lose Yourself.
Yes.
So I rapping along to it, and it's a good song. Like, there's so many layers to it, but there's one line that stuck out to me, and I'm like, I wonder when Eminem wrote this, what was going through his head? Because I've got a few questions. Okay. So you'll know this. Life of my family, because man, these God food stamps don't buy diapers, and it's no movie. There's no Mekhi Phifer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mekhi Phifer, who starred with him in 8 Mile. Now, a couple of things going on here. Okay, so Eminem is acting as Rabbit in 8 Mile, but he's rapping as Eminem. He's not Rabbit in this song. No. And so he's saying, this is no movie, unlike the movie I've just been filming with my friend Mekhi Phifer. Do you think he was betting on Mekhi Phifer being a bigger star when there was already a Michelle Pfeiffer out there? Like, rappers like to sort of, reference and make comparisons and similes and stuff like that. The obvious one there, if you want to rhyme a Pfeiffer, is Michelle Pfeiffer. But do you think he thought, Mekhi, I'm really impressed with the work he's been doing in 8 Mile. I think he's going to be a big star. I reckon in 20 years' time, when people listen to this, they'll be like, oh my God, like he's the Marlon Brando of acting. Or do you think Mekhi Phifer was like, hey man, I'd really love to be in one of your songs if you could find a way to reference me? Like, what do you think was going on with that particular line?
Firstly, I'm not sure that Eminem has ever been particularly careful around how well his references will date.
Right.
It's fair to say that some of the things that he said in his raps, the pop culture references, he hasn't been looking at, like, will people still, like, get this Moby joke in 20 years from now, right?
That's a good point.
So I would think he probably isn't looking that far into the future. I think it's a shout out to a friend or somebody that he's, become friendly with, in making the movie. So does that then elevate him above all the other people in the movie? That's the more interesting question for me. Like, are there other guys who made that movie with him who were like, well, hang on.
Yeah. Whereas Brittany Murphy was like, she could say she was like the second biggest star in that film, right?
Yeah.
Like, Mekhi Phifer,
Kim Basinger. Kim Basinger must be like, it's easier to write Basinger with something, mate.
Well, it's diapers. I mean, who else could he have brought in? There's diapers and Phifer. That's what which, like Clawson and Awesome, slant rhyme. I know how you feel about slant rhymes. Not really a rhyme.
I don't know. Piper? Someone Piper?
Billy Piper.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
UK,
no Billy
UK
Piper.
TV. There's no Billy Piper.
Yeah,
Who used to date Richie from Five, incidentally, Billy Piper, just saying that.
What's the other line that we're trying to rhyme it with again? The diaper line?
So, life for my family, because man, these goddamn food stamps don't buy diapers, and it's no movie. There's no Mekhi Phifer.
Yeah, there's no Rowdy Roddy Piper.
He only did one movie. He's more closely aligned with wrestling. Who? Iper, Guyper, Viper.
Yeah, Viper.
Sniper.
Sniper's good.
Sniper.
There's no Mark Wahlberg in Sniper.
In Sniper, or Tom Berenger in the direct-to-video sequel. Life of my family, because man, these goddamn food stamps don't buy diapers. It's no movie. There's no.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're going to go with Pfeiffer, then Michelle Pfeiffer, yes, just like, I get that. She's a bigger movie star. If that's all you're looking for is like, I'm trying to make this about the movies, but he's referencing a specific movie. He's not saying my life is not like every movie. He's saying in this, my life is not like this specific movie that we are referencing, because I'm playing with the idea of like, being Rabbit, but B Rabbit's story is my story, but it's not entirely my story. He's like specifically referencing the movie 8 Mile in the song rather than movies in general.
All right. But hang on. But that's confusing because he's rapping about how hard life is because I can't afford to buy diapers because life is no movie.
Yeah.
Because there's no Mekhi Phifer. But if he's actually referencing 8 Mile, life in 8 Mile is exactly that, where Rabbit can't afford to buy diapers, lives in a trailer park and stuff. Like, I think what he means is like life isn't like, the Wizard of Oz, or life isn't like, what's that one? I was going to say the Cosby Show, referencing a Body Count song, but that's a bad reference. Life isn't Sesame Street. I don't know. What is it? What movie or what TV show is like life? Oh, Leave It to Beaver.
Okay.
God damn, these food stamps don't buy Seavers.
No, Cleavers. But But that doesn't make sense. He's referencing them like hang on. We're gonna have to go back to the start. I'm gonna
Okay.
All right.
I've got him here. Do you want me to read you the start of the verse?
Yeah.
No more games. I'ma change what you call rage. Tear this motherfucking roof off like two dogs' cage. I was playing in the beginning. The mood all changed. I've been chewed up and spit out and booed off stage. So that's Eminem, not Rabbit, right?
Yes.
But I kept rhyming and stepped up to write the next cipher. Best believe somebody's paying the Pied Piper.
Yeah.
So that's why I wouldn't use Billy Piper or Rowdy Roddy Piper, because he's obviously used Piper there.
Pied Piper.
Yeah. All the pains inside amplified by the fact that I can't get by with my 9 to 5 and I... Oh, God, he's a good fucking rapper. The way he holds back on the 5 to start the next line. And the fact that I can't get by with my 9 to 5 and I can't provide the right type of life for my family because, man, these goddamn food stamps and buy diapers and it's no movie. There's no Mekhi Phifer. And this is my life and these times are so hard and it's getting even harder trying to feed my water and seed plus teeter-totter caught up between being a father prima donna, baby mama drama scheming on her too much for me to want to stay in one spot. Another day of monotony's gotten me to the point I'm like a snail. I've got to formulate a plot or end up in jail or shot. Success is my only motherfucking option. Failure is not. Mum, I love you, but this trailer's got to go. So is this fucking Rabbit now? Is this Eminem?
No, this is Eminem. So Eminem is talking about the time of his life that has been fictionalized in the movie 8 Mile.
Right.
But he's talking about the fact that he lived it. It wasn't just a movie. This was what he lived.
Right. Okay. I get you. All right. Yeah, he's clever.
Yeah.
I still reckon Mekhi Phifer, though, would be pretty rapt that he got in there, considering, look, Mekhi Phifer, I'm sure, has had a wonderful career. I can't really think of anything that I've seen him in recently, but I'm sure he's working. But to be in that Oscar-winning song when there was Michelle Pfeiffer, who's still doing tentpole, she's going to be in the new Ant-Man and the Wasp. You did pretty well. I mean, it's like if you're going to use Clausen in a rap, and you have to choose between me and Alf Clausen, the composer of the Simpsons theme. Like, I would feel pretty chuffed.
But if it was a rap about, say, this podcast, then it would make more sense to use your name than it would to use Alf Clausen, the composer from The Simpsons.
Alf Clausen was also the composer of the theme to the TV show Alf. I think that's fucking weird.
No.
Okay.
I mean, they're both names that people have, so...
Well, one of them is it stands for alien life form. Yeah. His name is actually... What's his fucking name? Alf's real name?
I know, but Alf,
Gordon Shumway.
That's true. But Alf, alien life force, like Alf Clausen...
Life form.
Okay, sorry. Alien life form... but that's not what Alf stands for in Alf Clausen. Like, he's not alien life form.
We don't know.
Okay, if we find out that Alf Clausen's name stands for alien life form Clausen, then I am willing to admit that is pretty weird. So, all right, what's Mekhi Phifer been up to? Mekhi Phifer,
spelled differently, I believe, to Michelle.
Yeah, okay. Actually. All right, let's have a look at what he's done since that song came out, right?
Okay.
So beforehand, he was kind of famous for, what was the most famous thing that he was in? I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, that's right.
He was in, I think he might have done ER. right? The TV show.
Yes, I
ER.
remember him in ER.
But here we go. Here's his filmography from
Oh,
2002. So 8 Mile. In 2003, he was in Honey. Do you remember Honey? It was was it
yeah, with
Jessica Alba?
Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in a movie.
He had a moment, Mekhi Phifer.
He was in
Definitely.
a movie called Slow Burn with Ray Liotta in 2005. He was in a movie called Puff Puff Pass, which was also known as Living High, and it was about stoners, surprisingly enough. And it was directed by Mekhi Phifer. So
He was in a show or a movie called Canal Street. I was in a TV show called Canal Road. Will, this is weird.
Oh my God.
Alf Clausen.
Yeah, that is weird.
Alf.
He was in Divergent,
Yeah.
which was that sort of Hunger Games series spin-off.
Hang on, sorry, just before I just googled Mekhi Phifer,
Mm.
and under his IMDb, there's just like the teaser text.
Yeah.
And you were saying before, like, the only way you'd use Charlie Clausen over Alf Clausen if rapped about a podcaster. Well, Mekhi Phifer is starring a show where he's a true crime podcaster who tries to solve the mystery surrounding a family's patriarch death. So I wonder if the Eminem and Mekhi Phifer are still friends.
Yeah.
And Mekhi says, hey, do you reckon you could just write a rap song for this TV show, whatever it's called? I can't find the link. It's about a podcaster. And Eminem's like, you know what? I'm not really into podcasts. I'm just going to have a random browse around. And he sees TOFO and he's like, well, I used to love Russell Crowe's band. Maybe I'll listen to this one. Then he hears us and it fucking catches Eminem's imagination. And suddenly Tofop gets woven into the soundtrack and it wins his second Oscar. This is no podcast. There's no Tofop. There's no Will Anderson and Charlie Clausen.
I mean, if he runs Clausen and Orson,
Then you finally give it to me.
I mean, if he wins an Oscar for it, then I'm fine. Do you think that there is a Mekhi Phifer bump every time? Because that song, obviously, he did it at the Super Bowl. He did it at the Oscars, came back and did the performance,
They play it at nearly every sporting event in the world.
So is there a chance that Mekhi Phifer has been, because he has been working consistently since then. He's made a bunch of movies. He's been in a bunch of TV shows. Is he always top of mind just because of that song?
It's probably the first thing I think of when I hear Mekhi Phifer is the lyric. Even before I think of him in 8 Mile, I think of Mekhi Phifer referenced in the Eminem song. Because prior to that, you've just done his IMDb, but what would be his signature role? Because he seems to have been a supporting role in lots of different big franchises. I know what you did last summer, Honey, 8 Mile, but he doesn't really have a superhero franchise or anything like that. He's probably missed the boat when it comes to that, maybe.
I mean, eventually everyone in Hollywood's going to have to be a superhero, right? Because they're just going to keep making, in phase 16 of the Marvel Universe rollout, Mekhi Phifer could be some old, a general or some old retired superhero or, one of those characters.
To see the full video, join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/Tofop.